10. The Varangian Guard. The Varangian Guard served as the elite personal bodyguards to the Byzantine emperors. These Northmen were recruited from Scandinavia and Kievan Rus, far from the intrigues of Constantinople. Their defining weapon was the massive two-handed Danish axe, capable of cleaving through shields and mail. Historian Sigfus Blundell documented their role as the axe-bearers of the emperor. Unlike local palace guards, these foreigners were immune to Byzantine court politics. They swore blood oaths of loyalty, often dying to a man defending the throne. Their service records revealed they were paid in gold coins and silk, massive sums for the era. During the Battle of Manzikert, they remained the only unit that did not break formation. They eventually faded into history after the Fourth Crusade sacked Constantinople. The Guard represents a unique model of using foreign mercenaries as a political stabilizer. Their existence proves that trust could be bought when local loyalties failed. Modern military analysts often compare them to the Swiss Guard in terms of absolute duty. Despite their fame, we lack primary manuals describing their specific training drills. Their tactical evolution remains a mystery lost to the fall of the empire. They were the ultimate outsider force, serving a culture they did not belong to. Their erasure serves as a reminder that mercenary power is inherently temporary. We know of them only through Norse sagas and Byzantine chronicles. This dual-source documentation provides a rare glimpse into their brutal, isolated lives. 9. The Winged Hussars. The Polish-Lithuanian Winged Hussars were the apex of heavy cavalry in the 17th century. Their defining feature, the wooden wings, were not just decorative, but provided psychological terror. Experts suggest these wings produced a whistling sound that panicked enemy horses. At the Battle of Vienna in 1683, they performed the largest cavalry charge in history, with lances nearly 18 feet long. They broke the Ottoman lines with ease. Researcher Radoslav Sikora has analyzed the physics behind their lance couching technique. They were comprised of Polish nobility, the Szlachta, who invested heavily in their own gear. Their training involved years of equestrian mastery and lance handling. Unlike Western European cavalry, they utilized a deep formation charge, hitting the enemy like a sledgehammer. Their tactical doctrine was aggressive and prioritized momentum over maneuverability. They rarely retreated, relying on the sheer impact of their charge to end battles. Despite their dominance, the rise of the bayonet and improved artillery led to their decline. By the mid-18th century, their function on the battlefield became obsolete. No manual exists that captures the full extent of their psychological training. They were a symbol of the Polish Golden Age, representing national prestige and martial excellence. Their disappearance from the military hierarchy was rapid and unceremonious. We see them today mostly in history books and folklore, rather than tactical analysis. Their legacy lives on as a cautionary tale about the sudden obsolescence of elite status. 8. AE. The Immortals of Persia. The Immortals were the elite infantry force of the Achaemenid Empire. Herodotus first described them in his histories, noting their fixed count of 10,000 men. They were always kept at this exact number. As one died, another replaced him. Their name derived from their constant replenishment, not from actual invincibility. They were armed with short spears, bows, and wicker shields, showing incredible agility. Their training focused on maintaining a rigid formation despite heavy losses. Historian Kaveh Farog suggests their discipline allowed them to traverse harsh terrains that broke other armies. They were the primary instrument of Persian expansion under Xerxes and Darius. They wore colorful tunics under their iron-scale armor, creating a terrifying visual uniformity. Their command structure was highly hierarchical, reporting directly to the King of Kings. Unlike the levy troops, they were professional soldiers who spent their entire lives training. They formed the core of the Persian military machine, acting as shock troops in critical engagements. Their loss at the Battle of Plataea signaled the beginning of the empire's slow decline. We have no surviving Persian records detailing their specific recruitment criteria. The image of the immortal has been distorted by Greek propaganda for centuries. They represent the pinnacle of ancient state-sponsored military organizations. Yet, like many elite groups, they were effectively erased once the centralized Persian power collapsed. Their story remains buried in the debris of the ancient world's political shifts. 7. The Mamluk warriors. The Mamluks were a unique military caste that evolved from slave status into absolute sovereign rulers. Originating from Turkic and Circassian backgrounds, they were trained in rigid schools. Their military curriculum focused on equestrian archery and individual combat mastery. Historians like David Ayalon have chronicled their internal code the Furusiya. This was a rigorous system of knightly training that included complex lance techniques. Unlike other feudal systems, they didn't pass power through bloodlines. Instead, they recruited outsiders who were conditioned to serve the state above all else. They effectively stopped the Mongol expansion at the Battle of Ain Jalut. Their ability to maneuver cavalry units like a single entity was decades ahead of their time. They ruled Egypt and the Levant for over 250 years. Their governance was entirely built on the foundation of the soldier administrator. They were patrons of science, architecture, and theology while maintaining a strictly separate military life. Firearms eventually eroded their tactical superiority by the 16th century. The Ottoman takeover led to their systematic dismantling and historical overshadowing. They remain a paradox, slaves who functioned as the most powerful free men in their society. Their story challenges the notion that hereditary power is the only way to sustain an empire. We see traces of their influence in the tactical structures used by later cavalry-based armies. Their loss of prominence marks the end of the medieval knight warrior era. 6. The Janissaries. The Janissaries were the elite infantry of the Ottoman Empire, formed through the Devshirme system. Young Christian boys were recruited from Balkan provinces, converted to Islam, and raised in absolute devotion to the Sultan. They were forbidden from marrying or owning property for most of their service. Their existence was defined by complete isolation from civilian society. Every aspect of their life, from diet to housing, was controlled by the state. They were trained as marksmen and professional soldiers from adolescence. During the siege of Constantinople, they were the decisive force that scaled the walls. They functioned as both bodyguards and the primary political power brokers of the state. As the centuries passed, they became a corrupt influence on the Ottoman throne. Their strength became their biggest weakness as they began to demand more political concessions. The Sultan Mahmud II eventually destroyed them in the auspicious incident of 1826. He replaced them with modern westernized army units to regain control. Their history is one of the most drastic examples of a military unit turning on its creator. Their training manuals remain largely lost, treated as state secrets during the time. We see their legacy in the architectural layouts of their barracks, which still stand today. They represent a dangerous social experiment, turning outsiders into the ultimate insiders. Their erasure was a calculated act to purge the empire of internal threats. They are a haunting reminder of the volatility inherent in elite, politicized standing armies. BS. These was a unit of 150 pairs of male lovers. They believed that a lover would fight harder to protect his partner than any other comrade. This emotional bond created an unmatched level of cohesion on the battlefield. Plutarch and Xenophon recorded their terrifying precision during the Battle of Leuctra. They were the key to breaking the Spartan hegemony that had lasted for centuries. The unit trained constantly, even during peacetime, maintaining high levels of skill. Unlike other Greek militias, they were a professional standing force. They operated as a single, unstoppable tactical body, pivoting with perfect timing. Their discipline allowed them to win engagements against much larger, conventional armies. Their final stand at the Battle of Chaeronea against Philip II is a legend of tragic courage. They fought to the last man, refusing to retreat, despite the overwhelming Macedonian phalanx. Philip reportedly wept when he saw their bodies arranged in their final battle formation. There is no evidence of their specific manual of arms, suggesting their tactics were oral and experiential. They represent a lost form of psychological warfare where emotion was weaponized. Their history was effectively buried, largely because their existence challenged contemporary norms. We now understand them as a masterclass in unit psychology and interpersonal loyalty. Their legacy is an anomaly that forces us to question how much potential military history we have simply ignored. The memory of the Sacred Band remains a testament to the power of human connection in the heat of war. 4. The Hashashin. The Hashashin were an elite sect of Nizari Ismailis that operated primarily in Persia and Syria. Often misunderstood as mere killers, they were a sophisticated political tool. They specialized in psychological warfare rather than open battlefield engagement. Their doctrine focused on targeting key individuals to avoid mass civilian casualties. Historian Farhad Daftari notes that they maintained fortified mountain castles, like Alamut, as centers of knowledge. Their training involved linguistics, disguise, and strategic patience. They lived among the people they monitored, blending into the background perfectly. Their existence forced rulers to negotiate and respect their political autonomy. Legends of their drug-fueled fanaticism were mostly created by their enemies to discredit them. In reality, They were highly disciplined operatives serving an ideological cause. They were destroyed by the Mongol expansion in the 13th century. Most of their original texts and libraries were burnt during these sieges, losing their history. They represent a prototype for covert operations and intelligence-led warfare. Their erasure was total, leaving behind only the myths that replaced the facts of their existence. We study them today to understand the roots of asymmetrical, intelligence-based tactical pressure. Their ability to influence the highest echelons of power without standing armies remains a fascinating case study. They prove that knowledge and stealth are often more lethal than conventional military force. The Spartan Agoge, was the most brutal and effective military training program in antiquity. At age 7, boys were removed from their families to enter a state-run system of total discipline. The goal was to create a citizen soldier who valued the state above personal survival. They were trained in endurance, pain tolerance, and lethal efficiency. Historians like Paul Cartledge describe the system as one of forced socialization into the warrior caste. They were taught to steal food to survive, punishing them only if they were caught, not for the act itself. This honed their stealth and resourcefulness under pressure. The training forged an unparalleled bond among the cohort, who lived and died together. They were the only professional military force in Greece for centuries. Their rigid formation, the phalanx, required absolute trust in the man next to you. Failure in the Agoge meant losing the right to citizenship and the status of homoioi. Despite their tactical dominance, they were perpetually paranoid about internal revolts. This fear stunted their cultural growth as they dedicated all their resources to military output. Their decline began after their defeat at Leuctra, which proved their system was not infallible. We see their legacy in modern military training regimes that emphasize extreme hardship and cohesion. They are the benchmark for a society entirely built for war. Their system was eventually abandoned as Greece shifted toward diplomacy and professional mercenary armies. The ninja, Shinobi. The ninja, or Shinobi, were masters of intelligence and asymmetrical warfare in feudal Japan. Unlike the samurai, who were bound by a strict code, the Shinobi were pragmatists. Their role was rarely combat, but information gathering and sabotage. They utilized specialized tools like climbing hooks, smoke bombs, and collapsible weapons. Historian Stephen Turnbull notes their importance in the chaos of the Sengoku period. They served as local scouts, messengers, and political agitators. Each region had different traditions, some tied to mountain monasteries, others to merchant guilds. They were not just assassins, they were the backbone of intelligence for rival daimyos. The myth of the ninja as a black-clad assassin is largely an exaggeration from later theater. They often dressed as common farmers or monks to blend into their environment. Their training focused on psychology, alchemy, and endurance. When the Tokugawa shogunate unified Japan, the need for these covert operatives diminished. They were slowly integrated into the state's official intelligence networks, losing their identity. Many of their manuals, like the Bansen Shukai, describe a mixture of technical skill and philosophical preparation. They were effectively erased because their power relied on being invisible. Their story reveals a hidden history of Japan that was never meant to be recorded in official chronicles. They remain the ultimate example of state-sponsored deniability. When formed the Mongol Keshik, the Keshik were the imperial guard of Genghis Khan, representing the most lethal tactical force of the 13th century. Unlike standard units, they were recruited from the sons of commanders, ensuring absolute loyalty. They functioned as both a personal bodyguard and a training ground for future generals. Their numbers were relatively small, but they wielded disproportionate power over the Mongol Empire. They practiced coordinated archery and cavalry maneuvers that allowed them to outpace any contemporary army. Their training was based on the Yasa, the strict code of Mongol laws. They mastered the feigned retreat, luring enemies into traps with perfect timing. Historians like Jack Weatherford argue that the Keshik were the architects of Mongol political stability. They managed the movement of information and resources across the vast empire. They were the first truly professional unit in the Mongol army, free from the tribal quotas of other forces. Their combat effectiveness was born from deep integration into the Khan's personal household. They were not just soldiers, they were the administrators of the world's largest land empire. Their decline mirrored the fragmentation of the Mongol state into warring khanates. We lack definitive records of their late-period tactical evolution, as much of their history was oral. They represent the ultimate model of the meritocratic elite, serving a single, visionary leader. Their erasure occurred as the empire split and the need for a unified imperial guard vanished. They remain the benchmark for a unit that was, in every sense, centuries ahead of its time.